No, I mean, no. I mean, Steve's going to say things like that. If I put everything that Steve said up there, we wouldn't have any space on our board. So,
hey, if you think Howie puts zingers to the University of Kentucky, you should hear Steve Spurrier, and no doubt we will this weekend. Welcome to the Red and Blue Review. We're here to talk a little bit of football, and the football season regrettably continues at the University. It is a football season, right?
Yes,
Darryl
it is,
Bird of the
absolutely.
Cats Paws. But Darryl has some big news about basketball, too, don't you?
Yeah, we do. Actually, it's coming up at our first break, and Louisville fans are going to love it.
Yep.
That's all I want to say. Louisville fans are going to love what we have coming from the Cats Paws.
And on the side of that agenda is Howie Lindsay of the Louisville Sports Report talking about things on Planet Blue this week.
Kentucky, who can't stop anybody in the run game and can't block anybody if they're trying to block their passing rushing attack, is going up against South Carolina, who just kills quarterbacks and has a great running back. I don't see where the problem would be.
It's going to be a very interesting weekend, and we're going to talk about it right now in our Game Time storylines. This portion of the Red and Blue Review is brought to you by the Kentucky Office of Highway Safety, reminding you as we're now into the fall, you're going to be sharing the road with a lot of motorcycles, so be careful out there. Well, love him or hate him, Coach Joker Phillips says he was doing what was best for Maxwell Smith when he decided to bench him during the Florida game.
anytime you lose your starting quarterback, he's a starting quarterback for a reason. He's not the starting quarterback because he's your worst quarterback. He's a starting quarterback because he's your best quarterback, and he's our starter. And when you lose your starter, you do lose a valuable person in your offense. If you saw him in warm-ups, he wasn't 100%. Okay, and if he'd gotten hurt, they think that he'd been out for a significant time, and it just wasn't worth risking. It wasn't worth risking. Like I said on Saturday, I was treating him like you guys would want your son to be treated.
I absolutely agree 100% with the decision not to play him at Florida. Boy, did we learn how valuable he is. They had nobody else to replace him. And you're right, he could have taken a shot, and we've been out for many, many games, and then Max comes out later in the week and admits, this is a separated shoulder. I'm probably going to be fighting this the rest of the year, and after the season we'll look at alternatives, which probably means is surgery a question or not. This is something he did in high school, and he heard it again last year, and he's already taken a shot against Western. So we're going to have to see, boy, this team is no good without Maxwell Smith running that offense.
And what a tough place the Kentucky football team is trying to figure out how do you prepare for South Carolina, because you know that Max is dinged up, so you've got to get him ready to go, plus you've got to get somebody as a backup ready to go, because if he's dinged up a little bit, that South Carolina defense is going to blast him.
They are going to be coming at him full force. I like their approach. They're saying he's close to 100%, so you prepare, you get Jalen Whitlow ready, and you understand, you can't say it, you understand if Max goes down, game over. We'll put Whitlow out there. He'll do the best he can. You ain't beating South Carolina without him.
Well, the Louisville Cardinals certainly have reason to feel good about themselves, undefeated, ranked in the top 20 in the country. But as soon as you get feeling really chesty around Charlie Strong, he can ruin your day real fast.
I try to downplay them all the time. Now I knock them down. They ain't gonna feel good around me. So it's but that's what you have to do, because it's what you're dealing with. A lot of times you're dealing with a lot of egos, and you're dealing with a lot of people telling them a lot of things. So when they hear that message, they a lot of them believe it. So just hey, let's calm down here. I can show you one or two plays that'll get us right. So we'll get back in the right frame of mind here.
If you're a fan of Saturday Night Live like I am, there's Debbie Downer. Charlie. It's Bad Time Charlie. We've got a new character. Bad Time Charlie's the guy on Monday or Tuesday. If you won the lottery, he'll remind you about the taxes. He is Monday and Tuesday of every game week. He comes around and just rains on everybody's parade. Oh, you think you played really well? What about this play, and this play that you didn't play very well? Oh, you caught 2 touchdowns? Well, what about this? When you didn't block and missed this block and missed that. He spends all of Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday just grumpy and foul and ruining everybody's good day. Now, what's interesting is later on in the week, he cheers up.
Yeah.
He starts building them right back up. But the players have noted that Monday and Tuesday, you do not want to be around Charlie Strong.
Well, if you tear them down early enough in the week, they'll listen to what you're saying, so that by the time the weekend rolls around, you're ready to roll.
You got it. Is it Linus that has the cloud over his head?
I guess. Yeah.
That's Charlie.
Gotcha. You know, most would agree that for Kentucky, they should have yanked Morgan Newton way earlier than they did in that Florida game and put the freshman out there, Jalen Whitlow. Chances are, as Darrell mentioned just a few minutes ago, we might see Jalen real early in the South Carolina game.
No, I don't know at this point, you know, but probably Jalen. You know, I don't know exactly if we'd go with Morgan or Jalen, but I think Jalen would probably deserve, you know, based on the way we performed Saturday. But again, we've got to go through this week and see how everything works out. You know, when Max went down, you know, we just felt like that, you know, he wasn't quite ready to go in that type of environment. Okay, you know, I've been down there when we put a freshman quarterback in there, and it's pretty tough. Okay,
I was trying to say it ain't pretty when you put it on the road, and it'll be a little better at home. The fans will be behind Jalen Whitlow if he has to play, but there's a lot of consternation now coming out that how much offense does Whitlow know? About 10%. What? He knows 10% of the. That's what you're comfortable with, and that's where I think you're going to have issues. Is that the kid is really talented, but as you know, there's two kind of quarterbacks. There's pro style, which is pure drop back. There's dual threat, which is the Cam Newton. I'm going to drop back, but I'm going to take off running because I can. Somebody who knows 10% of the offense, he's going to look at one read, maybe two, and he's going to take off running. Now that might work, but that takes away all those weapons that Maxwell Smith has utilized so far this year, and you're just not going to be nearly as efficient. You're not going to win a game in that kind of a situation.
Now, Darrell, the video we were just watching right there, I saw Whitlow hitting guys right in the numbers and dropping it.
Yeah,
I don't know how much he knows, but I mean, there are some guys dropping passes right there.
Yeah, well, the body language there at the game, the receivers, especially the older receivers, they kind of bailed on this game because when you come out of the locker room with Morgan Newton as your starting quarterback, if I'm on that team, it's like, are you kidding me? You're really going to run him out here in the second half? So by then, they were just saying, where's the bus? Start it. I want to get on it.
UK's quarterbacks would have won a game of dodgeball right there. They got all the receivers out.
Yeah. Well, Charlie Strong says Louisville has not played good football in their last 6 quarters, and he says that needs to change moving forward if the Cards hope to fulfill their dreams of being a champion.
You like to say that, you know, we can still improve and we can still get better, and that's what you want to see this football team do. We just haven't been consistent. You know, you go into game 1 and in game 2 and game 3 you get a big lead, and the last 2 quarters, even the 4 quarters from the past game, 6 quarters, I don't think we've played our best football. It's kind of where we hit that we hit that spell, and so we can get better, and we want to see the improvement. And I talked to him yesterday. I said, if you want to be the football team you want to be, if you want to be a good team, then continue on the level you are. If you want to be a great team, then we can step it up and we can go get better. That's what you want to see us become one of those teams where we can step it up and get better.
I love that Charlie Strong is challenging this team to get better. Yes, you're 4-0. Yes, you could go win the Big East, but you're not great. And you're not going to be great until you do this, this, and this, and this. And essentially what he's saying, those last 6 quarters were not great football. They're decent. You know, you won the game, whatever, but those aren't great football. And really, I don't know if Louisville can survive all season just doing good enough football. So I love that Charlie Strong's challenging these guys to get better.
The master plan for Kentucky football going into this season was Max Smith would be the starter, Morgan Newton would be the backup, and Patrick Towles would have a red shirt, so he'd have 4 full years at UK. But with Smith injured and Morgan Newton ineffective, they may have to yank that red shirt off the freshman from Kentucky.
Comfortable with where we're at, you know, because I think we'll get Max back. That's our feeling, that we'll get Max back. You know, again, when we decided to allow Jalen to be our third, and you know, we really think that Pat Towles will be a really good quarterback in time. And we just think that this is the best thing for him and for our program at this point.
Okay, here's my theory. This is what Coach Darrell is going to do. If Maxwell Smith gets hurt and is out for an extended period of time, you not only take the red shirt off Patrick Towles, you throw him out there as your starting quarterback. It's what I was talking about earlier in the show. Pure drop-back passer. That's what Towles is. That's what Maxwell Smith is. That's how this no-huddle offense works at its best. You take the drop, you make your reads, you pass the ball, you distribute it all over the place. That's how this offense, that's the only way this offense is going to work. I would do that before I would go with a dual threat Jalen Whitlow, who's going to do a lot of running, and it's going to look a whole lot like the last couple of seasons. I just wouldn't do it. If he's hurt against South Carolina and you've got half the season left, Red shirt comes off, Tolles is your starter, and you get on with it.
And plus, the kid wants to play.
Yeah.
There's no question about it. According to everything that we've read, his dad is really perhaps not being quite as patient with this program. If it's going in the crapper and his kid's on the sideline, you know, there's certainly the consideration that the kid could transfer out next year.
Possibly. And he's played so much, it's like he can look, he's the type of person, he can look at what's going on at UK and say, I can help. I can help this situation. That's where that mindset's coming from, because he's always been a winner.
Well, there's a concern that Kentucky and Louisville could play in front of fairly empty stadiums this weekend. When we come back, we'll talk about that. But as we head to the break, Daryl's got good news for those on Planet Blue and sort of bad news for those on Planet Red.
Oh, I think Louisville fans are going to love it, don't you think? We have, the Cat's Paws has commissioned, and we're the only place in the world that has it. We have the official NCAA broadcast of the UK U of L Final Four basketball game last year in New Orleans. There's a few places around the state where you can find the UK-Kansas game. We inquired, well, what about Louisville? Well, if you want it, you'll have to cover all this, this, and this. The bonus for us, we're the only place on the planet you can actually get this DVD, the official game broadcast, Kentucky's win over Louisville, available at shopcatspaws.com.
I've seen that movie. I don't really like it.
Don't like the ending?
No, the ending's not very good. It's not, I don't know if it's really believable.
Have you driven a Ford lately? Well, stop by Allstate Ford and test drive a new Explorer or F-150. Or visit us online at allstatetrucks.com. Allstate Ford, on the Watterson at Poplar Level Road.
I want to be the president.
A news anchor.
A Division I basketball player.
A writer.
An investment banker.
A zookeeper.
A surgeon.
I want to play field hockey in the Olympics.
I want to go to Columbia University.
I want to grow up and have a family.
When I grow up, I just want to be alive.
Think
before you drink.
Buying your next VW from Bachman Volkswagen will be a great experience. No games or gimmicks, competitive prices, and a huge inventory make #1 Bachman the place to get your Volkswagen. The all-new 2012 Jetta, an IHS top safety pick, is a great vehicle and fun to drive. Or get the sporty all-new 2012 Volkswagen Beetle. It's back and better than ever. Come to #1 Bachman Volkswagen today to get your new Volkswagen before someone else does.
Bachman makes a difference.
They'll see you before you see them. Cops are cracking down on drinking and riding. Drive sober or get pulled over.
Join the club at Sam Swope Auto Group. When you service a vehicle at any Sam Swope dealership, you automatically become a Service VIP Rewards member. You get member pricing on parts and service, lost key return, and emergency roadside assistance. Plus, you can earn points that qualify you for discounts on your next vehicle purchase, up to $2,500. The best part is becoming a member is free. Become a member today at any Sam Swope dealership. Nobody walks away because everybody saves.
Have you driven a Ford lately? Well, check out Allstate Ford's pre-owned inventory at allstatetrucks.com. Large selection of pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs. Also, a nice selection of Ford-certified pre-owned vehicles. Allstate Ford, on the Watterson at Poplar Level Road.
Well, I only know one way, and that's I had to yell.
That's kind of the way we do it here. Welcome back to the Red and Blue Review. We're going to be talking a little bit of football here, and we're going to start with one of the issues as we introduce you to Kentucky playing South Carolina and Louisville taking on Southern Miss, is how good that guy is right there. Now, there's a rule in the NFL that says that an underclassman can't go to the pros until after his junior year, but Joker Phillips would like to see that guy leave now as a sophomore.
They should issue everybody one of those. I'm just telling you, he's even better this year. He's a lot faster, a lot quicker off the ball, uses his hands better. Again, he would be the #1 pick this year. I mean, if I was a GM, if he was coming out. They should let him come out, I think. Why don't we and that's one of the guys I was telling you, we got to manage the old shoots. Okay, and when he's coming at you, we done screwed up protection. What do I do with the ball? Oh shoot, here he comes.
This is one of these moments where I should probably just let this film roll and just shut up because this guy.
We have a lot of those moments, Daryl, but go ahead.
So fast. He comes flying off the ball. He's 6'6" and runs like a tailback, and he's the smaller of the defensive ends. The other guy, Taylor, on the other side is 6'8", and they are becoming so fast and so furious.
Wow!
Number 7 and he just leveled this poor quarterback, Murray down Georgia. Poor guy turned into him, and that's the challenge. And on a serious note, you've got Maxwell Smith, who's nursing a bad shoulder. He takes one of these hits like this from Jadeveon Clowney, and you may be looking at your backup. It's a very real possibility. The older people in our audience will realize the old Beetle Bailey comic strips where he would smart off to Sarge, and Sarge would pummel him into this little pile laying on the ground. That's the risk you take, Maxwell Smith takes when he's playing against Jadeveon Clowney in that defense, and that's just one. That is an outstanding defense.
Well, you know, Steve Spurrier's fun and gun offense, or football team in Florida is built on offense, really since he's been in South Carolina. It's been a defensive football team, hasn't it?
And Joker said it's because of the players inside the state of South Carolina. There was one point where the Super Bowl one year had 8 players from South Carolina.
Wow.
None of them went to South Carolina or Clemson. That's how good they are. And he said he's heard coaches down there complain, man, we got to get some offense again. We have too many defensive tackles in this state. Are you serious?
Too many defensive tackles.
Too many defensive tackles in the state of South Carolina. It's odd, but wow, those guys are so good.
Well, if you grew up on a farm like me, you know what can happen if you mess with a beehive. And Charlie Strong is warning his players as they head down to Southern Miss, you better be careful down there. You could be stirring up a beehive.
Because this is one of those games right here that you're going to go to Southern Mississippi and they haven't won a game, and you know right now that you're going to step into a beehive. It's going to be, they will be humming, and they're going to be at their best. So now it's all about us, and that's why you always try to make sure that your team doesn't get too high.
Southern Miss is looking at this game as their opportunity to completely turn around their season. They're 0-3. They've got talent on this team. I know they do. They've recruited well the last several years. This kid could make it happen. He's a tremendous return man. And they are wearing all black. The entire stadium's doing the blackout thing. They're going to give every effort to try to upset a Louisville team coming in. And these two teams have a lot of history of big upsets. The Mills Kills play, the Brett Favre off the helmet thing. I mean, they've got a long history. I don't see it happening, but they're going to do everything in their power to get it to happen.
Yeah, no, Louisville's going to kill them. I have no doubt about that. I'm sticking by my prediction these guys are going to go undefeated. Hey, let's number crunch the Kentucky-South Carolina game. And one of the numbers we want to throw at you is the number 6, which is the football ranking for this defense. Because you think about this. Connor Shaw, the quarterback, is the hottest quarterback in America. He has completed his last 20 consecutive passes, yet that offense is overshadowed by the good South Carolina defense.
Speed, power, length. I mean, they got guys inside that do a really good job of pushing the pocket. They got 2 6'6" guys on the edges. They're really good speed rushers, and they do a really good job in coverage also. So I mean, it's just overall, again, giving up 67 yards rushing, in 4 games, pretty dang good. Really, really simple. This is probably as simple of a South Carolina team that we think. Why would you? If you got front four that like these guys do, I mean, you don't have to. They get pressure on the quarterback. They're second in sacks. And that's just with their front 4. So, I mean, why would you?
They give up 67 yards rushing per game. They give up less than 10 points per game. And the reason is they've got the offense on the heels. And you notice we've gone through this entire show. We've talked about the defense, how great they are. They're at the top 1 or 2 with Alabama in every category in the league. Connor Shaw, 20 in a row. And he's fighting for his job with another guy who does just as well. And we've made it all the way to this point, and we've not even mentioned running back Marcus Lattimore, who is outstanding, who's going to be an NFL running back one of these days, a great, great player. And he's not even mentioned. That's what kind of a team this is, and what a huge challenge. You think the Florida game was tough? That Florida game was nothing compared to the challenge they've got taking on South Carolina. I think South Carolina, Bama are going to be the teams playing in the SEC championship this year.
Southern Miss already got smacked around by a Kentucky team. Western Kentucky thrashed them last week. Charlie's got to convince his players that Southern Miss can beat Louisville this week, and that's not going to be easy.
With their history, they're usually a really good team. I think East Carolina beat them, then Western Kentucky beat them, then Nebraska. But usually you see a team like that because they are a different football team. But the games that they lost now, they lost to some, you look at Western right now, 3-1. You look at Nebraska, where they are. But the thing about it, you try to not look at a team's record because I just know this. They're going to be sky high for us on Saturday night.
We already had one Charlie Brown reference. We'll make another one. Charlie Strong this week is going to be like that teacher. I mean, he can talk all he wants to about Southern Miss can beat you, Southern Miss can beat you. They've got players. Those players are only hearing that. Yeah, they're not hearing any of it because, as a coach, you can say it, you can say it, you can say it. If a team looks at that record and they see 0-3 and they see that they were down 42-3 to Western, they're not listening.
Well, let's play the old ifing game. Kentucky can win against South Carolina if the guys up front have a monster game for the Wildcats.
I thought that this was the best defensive front that we'd played against, and our guys rushed for over 100, right at 160 yards. I mean, I thought this offensive line did as good as any we'd been around against a Florida team. Chance to watch the video on the plane and talk to Coach Summers about it. I thought those guys did really well up front, opening up some holes and understanding the protections and all of the blitzes that we were given. Did a good job of protecting us.
That was the one surprising positive from the Florida game. They actually ran the ball fairly well against the Gators, and you got to give credit to that young offensive line. In this game, any prayer of an upset comes down to the offensive line. They've got to be able to run the ball to keep Clowney and company from just pinning their ears back and coming after Max Smith every time the ball is snapped. So they've got to be able to run it, and they've got to be able to hold the protection. Somebody's got to be able to keep the end rushers from getting through and knocking your quarterback out of the game. They've got to protect him, and they've got to open up some running holes to have any chance of pulling this off.
Well, Louisville will lose at Southern Miss if some of those talented Cardinals start standing around waiting and watching other people come out and make plays.
Like we was talking about the kickoff coverage, I showed a play there on the kickoff coverage where we had Andrell Smith Drew Johnson had a guy tackled, and he's trying to get him down. I mean, he's jumping up trying to pull him down, and I got 5 guys standing watching the play. I said, if you want to watch, I'll get you a ticket in the stands. I can get you a ticket where you can watch this play. But, he's over trying to get in. There's 3 other guys trying to help him get the guy down, but 5 guys are standing there.
I remember the play in question, and it was just one of those things like, it looked like the rest of the team was like, I wonder if he's going to get that tackle. And they really didn't go over there. They didn't go over there and help him. It was unbelievable. But they can't have any spectators when they go down to Southern Miss. It's got to be team defense, team offense. You shouldn't be after the play telling your teammate, wow, that looked really good. Why weren't you blocking somebody?
We come back on the Red and Blue Review. We'll be telling you why hand signals may get replaced by smoke signals. But as we head to the break, Howie's going to tell us about Louisville sports, the Louisville Sports Report.
Absolutely. Louisville Sports Report is your best chance to get all your news and coverage and features and game analysis and pictures from Louisville football. Check it out. This week's issue is called Old Rivalry, New Cardinals, and you can check it out at LouisvilleSportsNews.com. You can get it delivered to your house, actually, for 502-636-4330.
Have you driven a Ford lately? Well, stop by Allstate Ford and test drive a new Explorer or F-150. Or visit us online at allstatetrucks.com. Allstate Ford, on the Waterson at Poplar Level Road.
I want to be the president.
A news anchor.
A Division I basketball player.
A writer.
An investment banker. A zookeeper.
A surgeon. I want to play field hockey in the Olympics.
I want to go to Columbia University.
I want to grow up and have a family.
When I grow up, I just want to be alive.
Think.
Before you drink.
Buying your next VW from Bachman Volkswagen will be a great experience. No games or gimmicks, competitive prices, and a huge inventory make #1 Bachman the place to get your Volkswagen. The all-new 2012 Jetta, an IHS top safety pick, is a great vehicle and fun to drive. Or get the sporty all-new 2012 Volkswagen Beetle. It's back and better than ever. Come to #1 Bachman Volkswagen today to get your new Volkswagen before someone else does.
Bachman makes a difference.
see you before you see them. Cops are cracking down on drinking and riding. Drive sober or get pulled over.
Join the club at Sam Swope Auto Group. When you service a vehicle at any Sam Swope dealership, you automatically become a Service VIP Rewards member. You get member pricing on parts and service, lost key return, and emergency roadside assistance. Plus, you can earn points that qualify you for discounts on your next vehicle purchase, up to $2,500. The best part is becoming a member is free. Become a member today at any Sam Swope dealership. Nobody walks away because everybody saves.
Have you driven a Ford lately? Well, check out Allstate Ford's pre-owned inventory at allstatetrucks.com. Large selection of pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs. Also, a nice selection of Ford certified pre-owned vehicles. Allstate Ford on the Watterson at Poplar Level Road.
What needs fixing on the Red and Blue Review? Brought to you by Doug Jones Home Improvements.
One of the things that needs fixing for the Wildcats is their field goal kicking.
I mean, it seems like the times that we've had, a chance to kick the ball, it's been around 42 plus. It hasn't been anything under 40 that we've had an opportunity to kick. So it's been really tough kicks for him. But I mean, we haven't lost confidence in him, and just me talking to him on Saturday after the game, he hasn't lost confidence.
He's on the Groza watch list start of the season. The main thing here, do not panic. He's not had an attempt under 42 yards. Every time he's been sent out, and there's only been 4, it's basically say, hey, go match or beat your career longest field goal. And he's barely missing on every one, so do not panic.
And Howie, what needed fixing last week in Miami was the headsets. Louisville had to work without headsets, right?
Oh, yeah. They didn't have any headsets. They had to come down to the field and call all plays down there. Terrible. I mean, it completely throws off a team's game plan. You got to have those headsets working.
So if nothing else, at the game this week, if the headsets don't work, I say we do smoke signals.
Yes, absolutely. Smoke signals, hand signals, some type of, got to do something.
All right, we'll talk about it. Kentucky's got a huge challenge trying to beat South Carolina. These guys will roll, and we'll talk about it next on the Red and Blue Review.
The Red and Blue Review is brought to you by Doug Jones Home Improvement Company, the Bachman Auto Group, Sam Swope, SWAT Team Pest Control, Joe's OK Bayou, PNC Bank, Allstate Ford Truck Sales, and the Ali Center.
I remember the moment.
I'll never forget that moment.
That changed my life.
At that moment, it hit me. This is why I joined the Guard. We're soldiers, always ready to protect our country. But we've also got communities. Family, friends, neighbors who count on us. I couldn't believe it. I just saved a life. Somebody from my hometown.
See what it means to be a citizen soldier at NationalGuard.com.